Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to everyone who's joined us today as we proudly present the Code Without Barriers Asia launch series of events featuring speakers from across ASEAN, Australia, New Zealand, India, and Japan. I'm Sindhura Sunkara, New Commerce Lead for Asia at Microsoft, and I'm thrilled to host you today as a Code Without Barriers changemaker. In today's fast-evolving tech landscape, diversity and inclusion drives innovation. Yet, the gender gap persists as a significant hurdle. Microsoft's initiative, the Code Without Barriers, aims to address the challenge by celebrating diversity, connecting allies, and creating inclusive communities. We have an exciting agenda for the next 80 minutes. You'll hear from our sponsor and Chief Operating Officer for Microsoft Asia, Stephen Miller, on how do we normalize diversity. We follow by a panel discussion with our industry and community partners on how inclusion can accelerate innovation in the age of AI. You will also hear from some amazing women of Code Without Barriers and their success stories and the impact that Code Without Barriers has led in ASEAN over the last 2 years. We have been working closely with our partners and community leaders to drive change, and we're thrilled to hear from them on what their experience has been like with Code Without Barriers and how they are inspiring change in their orgs and communities. So stay tuned till the end and use hashtag Code Without Barriers, hashtag International Women's Day for your conversations on social media. We would love to hear your thoughts and actions you plan to take to move the needle on diversity. Now, let me welcome Mathew, Director of Developer Relations at Microsoft and Code Without Barriers lead, to introduce Stephen Miller.
Thank you, Sindhura. This year's UN theme for International Women's Day, Accelerating Progress, resonates so well for Code Without Barriers as we are just at that stage of expanding across Asia. And one person who has his foot firmly on the accelerator is our executive sponsor, Stephen Miller, Chief Operating Officer of Microsoft Asia. Stephen, thank you. This fireside.
Annie, thank you so much for having me. It is a real privilege to be part of this discussion. I love Code Without Barriers and I love what this team is doing, so my privilege.
Okay, so let's get right into it. I thought we would frame our chat today around the Code Without Barriers mission, which keeps our strategy and actions aligned to purpose. The first part of this mission is that we believe innovation, entrepreneurs, creators, developers need to reflect society. Stephen, why is this so critical in Asia?
Well, I think it's actually a little bit about what you said in the framing of the question, Annie, right? We genuinely believe in our mission here at Microsoft, and our mission at Microsoft, and for those of you who might not know it, is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And the really critical parts of that are every person and every organization. Doesn't say just some people, doesn't say just some organizations, it says every person. And when I think about our company, our mission, and our purpose, there is nothing more important to us than bringing the incredible benefits of technology, the incredible benefits that it brings to economies, to societies, to communities that we serve, of utilizing it to make progress. And that progress can be really small or it can be really large. And I think it would be unreasonable for us to say that access to technology, that access to coding, that access to having an impact through technology is fully democratic and living our mission right now in Asia. And so for me, being super intentional, focusing on the incredible participation that we get from girls and women early in their educational career in technology doesn't stop when they reach some of the more senior parts of school or college or university. And so when I think about Asia and I think about us driving the growth of the world economy in the next few decades, I think about the incredible opportunity we've got to enhance and develop people's lives in every market of Asia. I think that this purpose and what Code Without Barriers does is puts a real intentional stake in the ground that we are here to live our mission, that we are going to be laser focused in ensuring that girls and women get access to technology and to participate, because fundamentally it supports our mission. Fundamentally, it's a critical part of what will ignite the success of Asia for decades to come. And fundamentally, we believe that when everyone gets a chance to play, everyone gets a chance to win. And Code Without Barriers, for me, is a critical part of enabling just that.
Wow. I hear that often from you, but I love hearing it every time. And Code Without Barriers is not a small initiative. It started with ASEAN, but now it's expanding across Asia. And you chose to be the executive sponsor on top of a very busy day job. Why is this program so important to you on a personal level?
It's a great question. As I thought about that, as you asked me that question, then I got a little shiver, right? Because this is personal for me. Like, one of my big drivers is equality and access and fairness. And when I think about my two daughters, and when I think about my wife, and I think about the impact that they've had, there is no part of me that is willing to accept a world where stereotypes or preconditions need to be met in order for them to choose the path that they want to. I want the same for you, Annie, right? I want the same for every person that's part of my team in Microsoft and is part of Microsoft in Asia and beyond. I genuinely believe that the only barrier to people achieving their dreams is opportunity. And so if I can play a role in making sure that whether you're in Vietnam or whether you're in Japan or Korea or India or Laos or Bangladesh or Australia or New Zealand, if we can play a role in removing that barrier and creating opportunity to determine people's own future for what they want, then to me, that is time incredibly well spent and plays a tiny little part in making the world a better place, a fairer place, a more opportunistic place for anyone.
Absolutely. Access to opportunities. And that brings us to the second part of our mission, which is to help close a gender gap in Asia's fast-growing cloud and AI technology sectors. That is our bread and butter as well. And we've been living this mission. When we first talked about Code Without Barriers, and I remember a conference room in the Singapore Fraser's Tower, we were talking about 12% developer diversity per the global out. And our target, I was explaining to you, was to reach 30% developer diversity in Asia. And I thought that was a big, audacious goal. And your response was, why 30%? Why not 50%? You matched the gender diversity average globally. To tell you the truth, Stephen, I was nervous and excited at the same time, thinking, can we possibly do it? But that has guided where we are today. So why are big, clear goals so important to accelerate progress?
Because of the answer you just gave, right? You were nervous, excited, but I'd ask you to have a look at the results that you've delivered in ASEAN in a short amount of time. And those results tell me that when we have big, audacious goals, we go after them with our whole heart and the whole might of an incredible company and industry behind us, and we achieve them. And so big, bold goals for me are galvanizing. They put a line in the sand that says, here's what our intentionality is going to be. Here are the programs that we need to be able to prioritize and question ourselves on. If they're not achieving that goal, then why are we doing them? And why are we not doing it? Why are we doing the activity? And then I go to, it allows you to actually be focused on what we should really be trying to deliver on our mission. Now, there are 51% of the planet are women. And so my question, and you're getting an insight, my team, if they watch this, will be going, yeah, this is him, is, well, why would you not reflect the breadth of ambition that you should have? Why would you go lower than what is reasonable. Why would I accept that 30% is progress when clearly opportunity tells me that, well, everyone should have the right? And I'm a bit of a maths boy. And so maths would say, well, that distribution should be fairly equal. And so for me, you have to put lines in the sand. You have to be declarative about why you're doing this. And in being declarative about why you're doing this, you shouldn't accept second best. You shouldn't accept below average. You should always be seeking to deliver the right thing. Now, that doesn't mean to say that you achieve it all at once. Progress, unfortunately, in much of the world can be slower than we would like, right? Otherwise, we'd already be there. But I don't think that means that you should compromise on your goals. I don't think that means that you should compromise on the intentionality that you and others in the leadership team for ASEAN went after this because. You went after this because you believe that the 51% of the population that are women should have no barriers to access to deliver on their dreams. And my job is to say, I agree with you, so let's go after it.
Yes, phenomenal. And I have taken that learning, my lived experience through that 30%, 50%, and I apply it to things that I do daily, but also I share that with a lot of the leaders out there who are looking at these big problems to solve. And you do need to have that big vision, start with that. But I think for us, fortunately, that vision was coupled with strong executive support, which you brought to the table. Otherwise, we definitely wouldn't have done this. So, so great learning personally and for the entire team, if I may speak for all of them. Now, Stephen, the last part of the mission is to provide a platform for female developers and founders on one hand, to connect them with organizations, our customers, partners, and open source communities on the other. And with this platform, what we are building in Asia is extensive. It cuts across skilling, mentoring, hackathons, advocates, job creation, diversity in the hiring process, diversity in the leadership, media storytelling, and creating community. And I do believe community is at the center of it all. And 2024 has been an incredible year already. As you know, Satya Nadella, Microsoft's CEO, was in India recently, and he announced the Code Without Barriers expansion to train 75,000 women developers in India. So goosebump moment, if you will. In ASEAN, we are celebrating achieving 31% developer diversity and powering forward to that 50% target. We're providing AI cloud skilling to over 10,000, and overall we're engaging over 750,000 developers. As part of this event series, this week we launched Code Without Barriers in Australia, New Zealand, and Japan as well. This is a platform that is delivering impact at scale in real concrete ways. Something you care about a lot, Stephen, for all parts of Microsoft Asia as COO. When you hear this progress, does it strengthen your vision for what is possible in Asia and maybe the world?
Oh my goodness, yes. I mean, listening to those stats as you rolled them off was just phenomenal, right? I mean, 750,000 developers across Asia that we're going to be engaging with. 75,000 women in the world's fastest growing economy of India are going to get supported to be developers, to participate more fully in that economy and create their own little missions and create their own Microsofts of the future. And for me, that only strengthens the vision for what is possible for Code Without Barriers in Asia. And to be honest, since the very, very first moment that you and the team engaged me, Annie, I've been 100% bought in to the why you want to do this. I'm 100% bought into the principles of how you want to do this. And my role and the company's role is to just help you continue to unlock that, to continue to be bold. There's no reason why this can't be applicable to the millions of developers that are going to be emerging in Africa or in Eastern Europe or in Latin America or in North America. There's no reason why we shouldn't be thinking about this as a vehicle that enables opportunity for all. And we know where success can lie with it. But even then, when I think I narrow my focus back to Asia again, right? And I go, we've still got so much to do. We've got some incredible markets like Laos, like Bangladesh, like Vietnam, like Cambodia, Thailand, Indonesia, the Philippines, where the very future of those societies is going to be enabled by artificial intelligence and by what technology brings. And there are no geographical barriers. There is no preconceived economic notions that have been set from manufacturing and retail and financial services to your success. And so it really is important that we light up the opportunity for everyone across Asia, that we light up the possibilities, and that we help people create their future, because then we are really removing the barriers. We're removing the barriers to progress. We're removing the barriers to participation. And together, you and I and the rest of this team are going to be removing the barriers to be part of the technology industry, because for our future, it's critical. For Asia's future, it's critical. And to me, it's also an obligation that we have to do to help make people's lives better and help them determine their own success. That's why I am only ever thrilled about what we do here, and I am only ever positive about what we still have to do and how we can go after it.
That's awesome, Stephen. And while it's incredible to see what can be achieved, it still remains very complex. I know you met with a group of developers and women leaders in tech in Vietnam earlier this year. What did you learn from that conversation that highlights the complexity of inclusion and closing the gender gap in the tech industry?
Thank you. I mean, this session, so I was in Ho Chi Minh City in January, and we met with a Code Without Barriers cohort group of women founders and technical leaders in the field in Vietnam. And the interesting thing for people who are not familiar with Vietnam is just how much innovation is coming out of that market, especially in the technology frame of reference, right? Very large number of developers, huge number of applications being delivered both for the Vietnam market and overseas. Incredible progress. The roundtable was enlightening in many ways. And it sort of brought home to me, the complexity is the right word, but also, I think, the barriers, right, to go across the Code Without Barriers. It really brought home to me why you and the team have framed it in this reference. So a couple of examples that were extraordinary was they have pretty equal participation in technology in school up until the leaving exams, or the final subject choices that you do at the end of high school. And some of the barriers to that are societal, right? The structure, the societal structure in Vietnam meant that for some families, seeing a career in tech for their daughters was not a feasible option to deliver money and to be able to deliver them the role that they're expected to play in society. To me, that's, as a father of two daughters, I'm like, what? How can this possibly be? But it's a real structural impediment that's slowly getting better. But actually, and I'll come back to why Code Without Barriers is so important to that, because you can't be what you can't see, and parents can't even necessarily see the tangibility of this industry. And therefore, when they're coaching and they're guiding, they feel limitations, especially for their daughters, in a way that they don't apply to sons, which I can have an opinion on, but I would prefer to deal with the reality and how I change that. Another one that was fairly extraordinary to me was even within the college environment, the university environment. And we had a daughter of a professor, as an example, who was in the room, and her mum had broken boundaries right, left, and centre. But one of the participants in approaching the class at university was told by their professor that this was not a course for women, and that they should really rethink whether this is going to be a suitable place for them to participate and build a career. And then the third one, which is instructive for, I think, how we think about things in Microsoft, is the very real notion, and again, it's a societal construct, of building a family. And whether or not technology companies, and whether that be domestic or international, is a suitable place that's compatible with growing a family. And again, I don't believe that to be a gender issue. I'm a single dad who's looking after 2 daughters, as an example. So I don't believe that parenting is gendered, or that giving opportunities to your children is a gendered thing, or one that should only apply to a woman. But there is a reality within Vietnam in this case, but also many other countries around the world, including where I live in Australia, where that's not actually easy for everyone. And so when I then look at those 3 observations that I'm making, there were many more, right? It was an incredible session. But when I look at those 3 examples, I start with the last one, which is, okay, this is a perfect example where companies like Microsoft and their peers in the industry can showcase that family life is entirely compatible with working in a large tech firm or a small tech firm, and that we have processes in place for men and women who are parenting, and indeed for people who are not direct parents but may have families that they want to look after or friends that they want to look after, that should be something that we enable, and we can showcase that example for Microsoft. When I look at the university campus example, that's about where Microsoft participates in education. Right. We are the biggest education provider from a technology standpoint in the planet. Then how do we continue to work with technology faculties, with professors, to make sure that part of how we play is by recruiting women developers, by encouraging coursework that has equal participation and opportunities, and just being really, really intentional at how we behave on the structure of education. And then on the first one, this is about, we have an incredible leader in Vietnam, Tran, who leads the Vietnam group. She's an incredibly powerful, articulate, and intelligent woman. We need to be continuing to showcase examples so that people can be what they can see. And we need to give opportunities that way. And that's where Code Without Barriers, for me, is an extreme linchpin of that strategy that says you have to change in multiple dimensions to create opportunity and to have code without barriers. And little by little, step by step, intentionality by intentionality, we have to not only help people engage, but we have to use our abilities to remove some of those perceived structural barriers step by step. And that, for me, was super enlightening. And to be honest, it continued my resolve, that is even playing out to this day. So a huge learning session, and I'd encourage all of you to participate in all of our markets to help people break those barriers.
Thanks, Stephen. And you touched the hot button, which is societal bias. And in this era of AI, the societal bias creeps into our algorithms and data and so on. So as we are leading with AI, this is so, I feel like we just have a window of maybe 3 to 5 years where we need to ensure women are participating at every layer, whether it's coding, designing, testing, policy making, or just using it. So, and the societal bias is real. Yeah. So, and the good news is that we have 55 universities who are partnering with Code Without Barriers now. So we'll keep at it. So and I think we will, we will get to the crux of getting them in young. And
we will be relentless in our determination to remove these barriers. 100%.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Annie. I mean, I am really so incredibly proud of the work that you and the team have put together in Code Without Barriers. And for all of you who have taken the time to listen and watch today, I'd really want to give you a call to arms, right? Thank you for your interest. Thank you for your support. But the change that we need to make here and the program that we're trying to achieve with Code Without Barriers is so important. So please get involved. Talk to your friends, talk to your colleagues, talk to people in the industry that you might know, talk to your university lecturers, talk to your teachers, talk to your children, whether they be boys or girls, and enlist support. This is about creating a better world for everyone. It's about understanding that this technology is going to be pervasive for our future. And in doing so, it creates a ton of opportunity. That opportunity must be equally distributed. So please, thank you for your interest, but please get involved, talk, participate, learn, and then work with Annie and the team and myself, because we are going to be relentless in our pursuit of making Code Without Barriers make a difference to everyone in Asia.
Yes, there's much more to do, but I'm so grateful and thank you for your guidance and leadership. Thank you so much for your time today, Stephen. It's always wonderful to have you, to speak to you, and thank you for being the executive sponsor for Code Without Barriers in Asia. And I'm looking forward to the whole team working with you on smashing that 50% developer diversity target.
Let's do it. But actually, before I let you go, Annie, a massive thank you to you for your leadership, because I've seen your level of commitment, your level of passion, and the tenacity that you've shown within the organization to get the support. And so, on behalf of Microsoft, on behalf of the thousands of people that Code Without Barriers is helping every single day, thank you to you for your leadership.
Oh, thank you, Stephen. Sweet of you. With that, we have more coming up for the next hour. Stay tuned, and also come to the events for from ANZ, India, and Japan on the following days. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen and Annie, for those amazing insights on normalizing diversity. Let us hear from our community partners spanning developer communities, startup incubators, and academic partners about the power of community engagement in Code Without Barriers.
Hi, my name is Linda Nguyen Schindler, and I'm Director of the AI Competence Center Asia for Start2 Group. At Start2 Group, formerly German Entrepreneurship, we are the startup journey, helping startup growth and corporate innovation initiatives on a global scale. We currently cover 4 continents, Asia, Europe, North America, and South America. And as part of the AI Competence Center, one of the initiatives that we rolled out was our Global Remarkable Women in AI series. This is a series focused on facilitating discussions and workshops on diversity in AI beyond the training data. With this Remarkable Women in AI series, we invite all genders to a series of inspirational, educational, collaborative, and global discussions on gender diversity in AI, with the aim of inspiring attendees to take steps in their respective roles to address the gender gap in AI. And we are proud to partner with Microsoft's Code Without Barriers and inspire inclusion through CWB by helping to close the gender gap in the region's fastest growing cloud, artificial intelligence, and digital technology sectors through mentoring, speaking engagements, community sharing, and employment opportunities. And our work is vital, as AI is expected to contribute over $15 billion to the global economy by 2030 and shape the future of human society. And a critical challenge for AI to live up to its potential is the need for more diversity in the development, research, application, and evaluation of new AI technology. Through this, we hope to show that inclusion is innovation because diversity of thought leads to diversity of ideas. We are thrilled to partner with CWB to support this initiative and move the needle on women in AI. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sia, and I'm building a vibrant global startup community through enabling 1 million entrepreneurs by 2030 at Draper Startup House. I inspire inclusion with Code Without Barriers by creating safe spaces across the different houses around the world where we invite empowered men and women to both be in the same spaces to share about their ideas and their learnings, as well as have a platform to have a voice and be able to pitch their ideas. By sharing ideas, we hope that people will be able to turn it into a reality. And through providing them with the right tools, we hope that we'll be able to empower a community collectively. So this is done through at Draper Startup House, the hackathons that we have hosted, and we'll be hosting more to come across the different 15 houses around the world, and through the educational programs where we invite both women and men and male entrepreneurs to take part. At the end of the day, inclusion is innovation because it takes a village to move mountains, and we cannot do it by ourselves. So through the crowdsourcing of ideas, we invite not just great ideas, we invite the best ideas in the house, and we help to turn that into a reality through the movement of everybody's actions. This creates a multiplier that can drive progress for all, and by embracing creativity and uniqueness, we can achieve greater together.
Code Without Barriers is one of the most successful women empowerment initiatives I've seen, and I've been in DE&I for 14 years. It's amazing the confidence it brings so many women that would otherwise not have that confidence to join a technology challenge. My involvement with Code Without Barriers ranges from setting a challenge as a partnering company to mentoring, to organising events, and to just speaking to the amazing women that are part of this ever-growing community. Going forward, I am very much staying a part of the group. I am setting another challenge for 2024. I continue my mentor relationship with those women that I've met in previous years, and I just hope to be part of this movement in any way that I can. Thank you to all the Microsoft team who are running Code Without Barriers. It truly is an honour to support women in this way.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aida Mustafa, and I'm a professor of artificial intelligence at University Tun Hussein on Malaysia. I'm also a lead trainer for academic intellect dan data analytic at UTHM. I inspire inclusion through Code Without Barriers by mentoring and skilling students in cloud, data, and AI. To date, Aida has trained close to 1,800 students, where 40% of them are girls from diverse degree background, engineering, business, education, biodiversity. Now, inclusion is an innovation because it creates an environment where their perspectives are valued, respected, and leveraged to drive creativity, innovation, and success. We believe that by embracing inclusion, we can unlock the potential of our talented female students. And we are not just fostering a culture of innovation, we are actually setting the stage for them to soar and gain a competitive advantage in job market. They are basically our future industry leaders. Now, here's the exciting part. Inclusion is also a powerful catalyst for encouraging and nurturing the girls to venture into tech fields, even if they're coming from different major. Imagine a world where girls from different background or feel empowered to explore coding, cloud computing, data analysis, and AI regardless of their first degree. Through Code Without Barriers, we are actually lighting up the path of equal opportunities, and we nurture the environment for these amazing girls. We are not just simply opening doors, we are inspiring and guiding them to leap into these exciting tech roles. So when we champion inclusivity to bring more girls into the tech scene, it's a celebration. We are not only balancing the gender scale or breaking down barriers, but we are also infusing the tech industry with a vibrant mix of talents, fresh perspectives, and innovative ideas. We need this diverse and dynamic blend to move the tech industry forward, making it a radiant win-win for everyone involved. Cheers to a brighter, more inclusive future in tech.
Hello everyone, I'm Nguyễn Huyền My, the CEO of True Code Vietnam, which organized hackathon, training workshop, and TED Talk to promote 15,000 female talent to work in the tech industry in Vietnam for 6 years. I strongly believe that inclusion is innovation because when we bring together diverse perspectives and experiences, we nurture creativity and unlock potential. In addition, I have been deeply impressed by the value and achievement of Code Without Barriers in Asia by Microsoft. That's why I become a firm supporter of program activity here in Vietnam. Together, I hope we not only encourage more women to enter the tech industry, but also empower Vietnamese women to contribute the unique talent on a global scale. Thank you.
Now it's time to hear from our Code Without Barriers customers and partners who have been part of our journey on how we can accelerate inclusion in the age of AI. Moderating the panel is Kavya Kanchana. Over to you, Kavya.
Thank you, Sindhura. Good morning, everyone, and it is my absolute pleasure to host this next segment. We heard from both Annie and Stephen about the mission, reaching 50% developer diversity across Asia. Sounds really ambitious, but we believe it's doable. But at Code Without Barriers, we realized early on that we cannot accelerate this progress and the journey that we are on alone. Any platform cannot be successful without partnerships. Hence, one of the core pillars of CWB has always been to build partnerships with organizations who are also motivated by our mission. Those organizations who are pioneers in their country or industry for setting benchmarks for diverse and inclusive practices, or those organizations and leaders who are acting as advocates to drive the mission across technical and business communities in the region. So it's my absolute pleasure to sit down today with two of such eminent leaders from the region who are part of organizations who have joined us in this journey, Pertamina and GitHub. Please allow me to welcome our speakers for today. Our first speaker is Ibu Indira Pratyaksa. She's the VP of Sustainability Programs at PT Pertamina, one of Indonesia's largest energy, oil and gas and utilities provider. In this role, Bu Indira is responsible for driving Pertamina towards a more sustainable future. It's a lofty goal indeed. Prior to her current role, she also served as VP of New Ventures and VP of Human Capital Management, which she is really passionate about, and we will hear more about it. And joining her is Sharryn Napier, Vice President Asia Pacific, India, Japan, and China at GitHub, which all of you may know has sort of become the de facto home for open source software development as well as developers alike. Sharryn brings with her a wealth of 30 years of industry experience spanning software development, business strategy, and a deep understanding of developer communities. Welcome, Sharryn and Bu Indira. It's great to have you both join us.
Thanks very much, Kavya.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. In the interest of time and to make it exciting, I'm going to kick it off, right? I'm going to kick it off with you, Bu Indira. And as I was just mentioning, you have spent 20 years in your career working on human capital development. And you're sort of an expert in this field. And that made me think, right? As technology is becoming more and more critical for all business functions and roles, nurturing this talent and ensuring we are building diversity in this talent becomes critical. Could you share with us how you are driving it, how Pertamina is driving this to build more inclusive tech teams?
Okay, thank you, Kavya. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude for collaboration with Microsoft on the Code Without Barriers program. And at Pertamina and through the Pertiwi community, the community of female worker in Pertamina, we are actively building partnership with various institutions to develop the talents of our women and equip them with the necessary skills to prepare them for leadership positions. And our experience, especially with CWB last year, was very, very highly positive. We have around 100 employees participated in the program, and it proved to be beneficial in enhancing digital skills, particularly for our female employees. The feedback from the participants has been very encouraging, with most participants expresses that the program has helped them work more efficiently and deliver better results with the help of technology. So if you ask me the question why this is important, first, this can be one of the programs that enable women to keep the pace with their male with the male counterparts in developing result and impact to the organization. So women employee get more recognition for their contribution, and especially applied technology can help women finish their job quickly, even better, with better quality, of course. And the second, with technology, it can help women to manage and balance their role at work and at home. Because as we know, at the COVID, we can work from home, and the technology be one of the key to handle work from home activities. So by working more efficiently in the delivering result quickly, they will have more time for the care work in the family, and they can use their time more effectively. Digital skills enable women to work remotely and flexibility, allowing them to work balance with their responsibility, of course. And the third, technology can drive innovation. In my previous role, as you mentioned, from new ventures, in this business activity, I've witnessed that the impact of technology on driving innovation within our organization has created so many innovation programs, and some of them championed by women utilize technology and their digital skills to create innovation solution for our business challenge and opportunity. So technology give very huge touch and huge benefit, not just for organization but also for life balance for women worker.
Thank you so much, Boo. That's a very well-rounded observation, right? One is to keep pace with, with their career and grow the career along with their male counterparts, and at some point also leverage technology as a way to increase productivity, efficiency, and also become champions for innovation. Thank you for that thought process, and I think we can see the results in Prathamina's programs as well. So that's really good to hear. I just want to stay on the topic of talent, but zoom out a little out to the larger developer community talent. And that's where, Sharryn, I would like to hear your observations as GitHub's Asia leader. Can you share what you are seeing, either in terms of diversity and inclusion or the lack thereof, or the gaps in the larger developer communities, and what can we do to support change this a little faster?
Yeah, Kavya, thank you so much. And again, we're incredibly proud to be partnering with the Code Without Barriers team. This is probably one of the things that has driven me for many years in technology, is trying to get more women into technology. Sometimes it's quite a daunting sort of thing for people to enter technology if they don't have what they think is a good enough skill set or exposure to technology. When you introduced me, you talked about me being in tech or in, doing what I do for 30 years. And it's actually quite confronting to remember the time when I was probably the only woman in the team that I was in. I was the only senior woman sitting at the table of the executive team. And as I moved into running the region 16 years ago, I was the only woman leader that was doing, running a software company extensively across Asia. So, I've had a lot of interesting hurdles myself. And so this has been something that has been very top of mind for me for many years. I think that we've come a long way. I think we have a very, very long way to go. But I think the introduction of, more exciting technology, things like GitHub Copilot, which provides a mechanism to allow the barrier to entry to be reduced, or at least dropped a little bit, to enable people to more confidently get into coding and get into technology and get into development. You know, what we're seeing is that with the release of Copilot, you know, we've had people that tell us that they're more confident and they're more productive, you know, 55% more productive using GitHub Copilot. And the barrier to entry is being reduced because from a chat function perspective, the developer can ask Copilot to explain things to them. And if you think about it, one of the things that is probably the most scary thing is entering a team and then having to ask the more senior developers or your male peers, what does this mean? How do I read this? How can I understand what the other developer was coding? How can I understand what it's actually doing? Now, a lot of women would be very intimidated by having to ask constantly other people and more senior people that are more experienced. And with GitHub Copilot, we can actually now provide them that capability to say, explain this to me. What is this saying? What are we trying to do here? And they, I suppose, you know, GitHub Copilot will never say, you're dumb, go away. I don't want to answer any more questions. And so if you think about it, that will give the new developer, you know, the woman that's entering a new team or getting into coding in the beginning, will give them a much more, you know, balanced level of confidence to be able to do these things. We're also finding that GitHub Copilot is helping educate a lot of women with coding. So if they've never quite got a particular language, you know, like they may be building in Java, but, you know, like they want to get into doing Go or something like that. So they can actually ask Copilot, you know, tell me how I do this in Go. You know? And the other thing that I think is incredible is that you can actually ask it questions in other languages. So when you say, explain this to me, explain it to me in Bahasa, you know, explain it to me in Japanese, explain it to me in Chinese. That, again, reduces that barrier to entry for so many, you know, not just diversity from a gender perspective, but diversity from background, from language, all of those sorts of things. And that's what I think is a super exciting thing about what we're seeing in the market now and what we're actually seeing in development teams and in the broader community of women that are getting into technology.
Thank you so much. That's a very heartening state of affairs, right? To change the status quo. So what I'm hearing is from Indira, it's about mindful programs, leadership, applying that thought to skill and to encourage women to look at technology as an enabler for career development and productivity. And from you, what we are hearing is how technology and new tools with AI-supported tools like Copilot can themselves be an enabler, right? Using technology to get more technology savvy, right? So both from a systemic side and from a tool side, we are sort of driving that change to bring more women into this space. This is really, really good to hear. But one aspect that when we always talk about technology is about the advent of AI, right? We talk a lot about the challenges that we will face with AI solutions. Every forum discusses about bias in data. But what we feel we don't talk so much about are the people who are building the technology solutions and the structure of those teams, right? And human bias is human bias. I will always have my biases, right? And sometimes I'm caught on my bias by someone else who's thinking very differently from me. And that's the role of diversity in teams, which we are hoping we can bring the same level of diversity into tech teams, right? What are your thoughts on this? Are you seeing the team dynamics changing? Sharryn, I'll stay with you for this question before we go back to Indira.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, I think, you know, the data biasing is something that I think will be with us for a little while. And I think that the reason for that is that data is historical. You know, and it's very hard to go back and change history. So as we push forward in, you know, in our future, the things that we do now are going to help us make that data that we're making now. And I suppose, hopefully, all the work that we're doing around changing perspectives and changing opinions and changing the way we approach things will hopefully create that less biased sort of environment that we're, you know, sort of training our models or whatever on, right? But I think that, you know, the things like Code Without Barriers, I think is a very, very good and a strong way to help enable people to have programs that allow greater diversity. And I've always been taught that diversity comes not just from a gender perspective, but that was essentially where a lot of the diversity conversations came from, but it comes from background as well. Yeah. And so having those teams, and I think people, what I'm seeing is people are being more deliberate about who they hire, how they hire. You know, we certainly make sure that, you know, we have a very diverse slate when we're hiring people. And I think I see this in a lot of organisations now, is that there is I won't say it's a requirement, but there's a desire. There's a real desire in companies that are bringing teams together, and particularly development teams, to have, you know, that range of background diversity, gender diversity, and just opinion diversity. So we're actually seeing that, you know, productively be focused on. And I think that those sorts of things in the programs that Code Without Barriers is also, you know, advocating, and the way that a lot of the, you know, enterprise customers that we see are adopting that and embracing that. I think that that's, you know, really the way that we're going to change perspectives. We're going to change the makeup of, you know, of teams, but we're also going to, I believe, actually accelerate, you know, sort of the things that are being built for the future. Because with that diversity, you get greater innovation, you get creativity, you get people pulling from, you know, all different varieties of backgrounds. And that is the innovative spark that we want in those development teams. And I think that we're seeing more and more of that with the inclusion of, you know, women and diverse backgrounds.
Thank you for that. And it's interesting you touched upon the multiple lenses that we need to look at this problem from. And we are quite mindful that when we talk about diversity and inclusion, it's not just gender only or female only. But at Code Without Barriers, we had to start somewhere at some angle. Hence, our conversation has been focused on that, but totally mindful and completely agree with you. You do bring a very important point, whether it is background, whether it is age, whether it is opinion, and all that brings the creativity in the solutions that we then design for the society, right? So we spoke a little bit about nurturing the talent, how we become conscious about building those diverse teams. But on the other side is the opportunity for women as well, right? Which are these emerging areas where tech talents can apply themselves? So I want to go back to Indira, because your role as VP of Sustainability, and ESG and sustainability is a field that's emerging and rapidly growing, and it is a complex climate challenge for humanity that we need to solve. And every business is gearing up to change themselves. How are you seeing the talent needs in this emerging field? How are you looking for talent in your organization? And maybe we can get some ideas for the audience who are listening in, who may be looking at career prospects in this field. Any thoughts, Indira?
Okay, thank you. This is very interesting questions. Actually, in Pertamina right now, we have approximately 18% female employees. It's around 7,000 women. And in the enterprise IT team, approximately 20% employees are women. But with these large numbers, we still not benefit them with the training or the digital activities. So we hope that next we can join with the CWB programs again, yeah, this year. And talking about what is the correlation between the technology and the sustainability, like you mentioned, that this function is very, very emerging right now. Yeah, this area would be a very good playing field for them to explore the new experience, the new skill, and they can work comprehensively, because we are gonna talk about how we care about the environment, the social, and the governance aspect, and operating the business to make it sustain is very important. So the background is not just from the digital employee. As I am right now from the human capital, I can join with the division of sustainability. And we also need the people from the worker from the financial background, because there is a CBT. We have to calculate the tax also for the sustainability, and we need the expert from the HSSE, especially in environment, and we also need the from the operational workers background, and also need from the digital and how can I say, the human capital also, because we are also talking about human rights in sustainability. So
Right.
about the opportunity for the career is very huge, yeah, to join with sustainability division. And especially when we are talking about the sustainability, we have to think about how we make sure that the way we work is make us sustainable also. Not just thinking about the work, but also think about our life. And in Pertamina, we already implement the respectful workplace policy. This policy can support the worker to make sure that they will have the rights in the place at work, and make sure that they have enhanced work-life balance for them also. And this initiative about the respectful workplace through various tools can be applied for reporting, providing evidence, and increasing awareness to protect our employees and prevent the recurrence of similar incidents. So if anyone would be joined with the sustainability division, it's very open, but you have to catch up the global issues. You have to understand what is the focus of the ESG program, and some of the programs should suit with the SDGs. So there are so many perspectives that we need to understand about how we make sure that our company can be sustained. So the career is very, very open.
Thank you so much. I liked the twist you gave on sustainable careers and work and life as well. So that was a good twist, and I think we all agree that we need to find that balance. But it's good to hear that this emerging field has the space for applying many transferable skill sets, whether you're coming from finance, whether you're coming from HR, or you're coming from legal side, or even tech and data and analytics. When Microsoft looks at our own ESG team, right? There is a huge gap today in terms of the data and the analytics layer that needs to be brought together for us to sort of report and track and record on these ESG initiatives. So we are seeing a lot of tech talent moving towards these roles as well. So good to hear that our observations are validated by you, that there's a space for growth. So people who are listening in, who are looking at, hey, which direction should I go? This could be a space if you are a data analyst or an AI enthusiast or a finance background person. There are opportunities in emerging spaces. Thank you for that. I know we touched upon talent, we touched upon technology and also opportunities. Just to wrap this up, Bhuindra, I want to ask you, what's your top of mind advice, maybe not to women, but to male allies, right? Any advice on how they can support to accelerate this progress?
Okay, for men alive. Okay. Just support your team. Yeah. Make sure that give them how can I say, give them a stage to perform their capabilities, but also give them help if they need. So be a team and be productive together.
That's beautiful. I don't want to add anything to that. Sharryn, any thoughts for women ourselves?
For women. I think the best thing that I can say to women, both whether they're young women getting into tech or whether they're women that are entering tech at a later stage, get into it, like give it a go. I actually find that women are incredible in some of the project management and some of the project execution sort of side of things, as well as developing, software, because their creativity is, sort of next level. But take a chance and back yourself. I think a lot of times we don't back ourselves enough, and we don't have enough confidence in just giving it a chance and trying it out. So I think that, give it a go. Very Australian sort of saying, but give it a go.
Thank you so much. So men, give us the stage, and women, let's take the risk and go and dance on that stage, right? Thank you. Thank you so much, Sharryn and Bhuindra, for sharing your experiences and your wisdom with us today. I found it super valuable, and I'm sure so did the audience. It's great to have you both as really strong advocates and sponsors in our mission for accelerating progress by really consciously investing in female tech talent to build that inclusive technology teams and future. Thank you so much. It's been great talking to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kavya. Thank you, Sharryn. Nice to meet you.
I'll hand it back to Sindhura for the next leg of the conference. Thank you.
I'm really pumped up after hearing a panel of amazing women leaders. The clarity of thought and the clear commitments on what we need to achieve in order to accelerate inclusion in the age of AI. We continue this momentum with some success stories from some of the women of Code Without Barriers.
Malaysia, which is the company I am currently working at now. It opens up to actually from Code Without Barriers itself. It actually opens up more opportunity. That's actually my starting point to a lot of opportunities eventually until until my current point, actually how I get my job. I think Code Without Barriers plays a big part.
Despite my eagerness to learn, I face many challenges due to the lack of my technical and soft skills. This question was always in my mind, whether I'm capable of doing this, or should I continue this? That's when I joined CWB, and here I got all the opportunities to conquer all the skills which I lack and to build the confidence.
What amazing stories from Davina and Shankari. Thanks, Saranya Sriram, for bringing them to light. These past 2 years, we've put the Code Without Barriers framework into action so we can create positive impact. Let us find out from Sindhu Chengad and Dr. Julia Gusakova on what the impact has been so far.
Hi, everyone. So let me introduce my co-host for this segment. And I have here with me Sindhu Chengad. She is Code Without Barriers Mentoring and Advocacy Pillar Lead. She has a rather complicated title at Microsoft currently, so I'll ask her to explain it herself.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Julia. Yes, I'm the co-pillar lead for mentoring and advocacy within the Code Without Barriers. We started about 3 years ago, so I've been part of the journey since then. I also used to be the open source go-to-market lead in Microsoft. So it was a very natural thing. I did work with a lot of open source developer communities. And then also personally, having had a very non-linear career with multiple unplanned career breaks, this was just something I was so passionate about, to mentor women, and I couldn't say no when this opportunity came up to be part of the Code Without Barriers. I currently work for the president of ASEAN as her business manager. So in a way, Julia, that's keeping it very short and not complicating it. So let's move on to Julia. Introducing Julia. So Julia is the Code Without Barriers Hackathon Pillar Lead. It's a huge role, but she also has a day job at Microsoft. So she's a senior cloud solution architect and specializes in data and AI, specifically with our global partner solutions team. So Julia, over to you.
So thank you, Sindhu. I have been working on Code Without Barriers hackathon idea from the beginning of Code Without Barriers 3 years ago. And actually, like for the past 2 consecutive years, I have been co-leading it with my colleague and friend, Poonam Sampath. However, this year, I'm leading the Code Without Barriers hackathon pillar across Asia. And in 2024, we are actually expanding to more countries. And we are going for the first time with the Code Without Barriers hackathon to India and Australia and New Zealand. And hackathon is actually something I've been very passionate about. And at the beginning, we were thinking on how to bring work and internship opportunities in tech closer to women. And also, can we provide a platform where women can work on real life problems, showcase their skills and talents? And hackathon actually serves as such platform where we connect talented women with our customers and partners. And what I have also observed is that not only winning is important, but also like going through the process of ideation, thinking how to implement your idea from the technical standpoint, learning new technologies, learning how to pitch it, learning how to hold Q&A session. These experiences are also very valuable for participants. So I would really love to encourage all women listening to us to participate. Okay, and that's about my role in Code Without Barriers. Sindhu, I know that you are leading the mentoring pillar. So can you share a little bit more about it? And I know you have a story on how you met your co-lead for the pillar. Do you mind sharing it?
Absolutely. As I was saying, I do have a very non-linear career experience. For those of you who don't know, I've had 4 career breaks. I've been a trailing spouse. I've moved across 4 countries, and every single time it was about how to land myself a job in that new country. And what has tremendously helped me is being able to reach out to people in the industry who are able to guide, coach, and mentor me as well. And today, I think when I look back, I've come a long way. So for me, it was really important, and it's a very personal thing for me to be able to give back and to support similar women who might be going through similar challenges, and for them to find their own paths as well. So I do actively also mentor within Microsoft as well as outside. And the funny story about Srini and I, who is my co-pillar lead at Code Without Barriers, is that we both had signed up to be, and we didn't know each other. So we met and we were put together as a group or a team within Microsoft to lead a specific mentoring circle. And we both got to know each other during that experience. So we used to connect and prep before our mentoring sessions, and during that whole mentoring experience, Srini and I realized we had a lot of interests, as well as we just clicked. And after that mentoring, I casually just mentioned to him that I was part of the Code Without Barriers. There's this diversity initiative that we've just started, and it's really exciting because we're trying to help women in the community. And he was like, hey, you know what? I'm actually looking for my next diversity gig, or something that I want to be part of. So I'd love to be part of this. And that's how I found my co-pillar lead for mentoring. And the best part is that Srini and I have gone through mentoring previously as mentors. And so now when we work on how do we make this platform available to our other mentors within Code Without Barriers, as well as the mentees, we have all of that experience, as well as then we understand how we can work together really well as well. So that's the little story. So for those of you who are interested, yes, we do have a mentoring a pillar and mentoring experience that we offer. We can share a little bit more about this during our in the next few minutes. But first, I want Julia to share a little bit of a fun fact about herself related to the Code Without Barriers too. So Julia, you've done not just the hackathon, you were involved in something else, right? So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so actually hackathon is not the only area where I try to contribute. And because the diversity and inclusion topic is actually very close to my heart, I try to support as much as possible in different areas. So sometimes I come as a mentor for our Code Without Barriers participants, but also some time ago, we were recording Code Without Barriers podcast. And honestly, this is a very different experience from anything else that I've done within Code Without Barriers. And usually I do a lot of work which is behind the scenes and not very visible. And for me, that was a big change, because I was a host for the episode. I still have to do all the background work to find the speaker, prepare the recording, go through it. And then on the day when it's published on Spotify, it's a very different feeling when you can go and listen to your own episode at such a big platform. And I'll be honest, it was scary. The first time to listen it was very scary.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I think I still don't like listening to my own voice. But yes, I think it's all about each of us going outside our comfort zones as well, right? And I think this is definitely part of that.
Totally agree. Yeah, so let's talk about the changes of what we have seen over the time.
Yeah, so shifting gears a little, why don't we talk a little bit more about what Code Without Barriers is, and tell our viewers how they can be part of it as well.
Okay, so Code Without Barriers is a much broader program than only hackathon and mentoring. These are really big pillars, but Code Without Barriers also includes skilling in such areas of AI, data science, Power Platform, cybersecurity. And it also includes building a community via in-person meetups in different countries, where women have opportunity to connect and network in person with each other and with mentors. But also, the program is about building partnerships with our customers, partners, startups, and communities. So with Code Without Barriers, we actually try to provide a well-rounded journey for women who aspire to start their career in tech, or maybe return to a career in tech, or switch their career trajectory. So Sindhu, can you please share a little bit more about where we are now and where we aspire to be?
Yeah. So when we embarked on the Code Without Barriers in 2021, 3 years ago, we had a dream, which was to achieve 30% of developer diversity in ASEAN. Now, at that point, we were much lower, and we thought 30% was aspirational. So fast forward 3 years. Now, when our last /data report came out, we realized that we'd actually achieved that 31% mark. And as you can see on the graph there, all across Asia, you'll see that the numbers are still much lower. And on ASEAN, in ASEAN, with all of the work that we've done in Code Without Barriers, we actually saw the needle move. And we saw that we've made a huge difference, and we've actually succeeded in getting to that 30% mark. So obviously, it wasn't an easy goal, but I think all of that work that we did definitely helped. So now we are trying to be a little more aspirational as we look at broadening the Code Without Barriers and taking it across Asia. We're trying to see if we can get the needle closer to 50% now. And that is our goal, to see how we can work. And of course, it's a huge team effort. So it is by working with Microsoft, of course, as a company who started it, but then we are now seeing a lot of engagement from our customers, partners, the startups that we're working with, the communities, the developer or open source communities, and all of these people are tremendous to the impact that we've not only seen, but also what we want to achieve going forward across Asia. And so we hope that all of you will be part of this and help us in achieving that dream.
Okay, thank you, Sindhu, for sharing this. And we are moving to our next segment.
Hey everyone! On behalf of Code Without Barriers mentoring pillar, I, Srinivasan, and my partner Sindhu would like to convey a big thank you to all the mentors for their thought leadership, time investment, and most importantly, as a coach to so many women across ASEAN. Across the last 3 mentoring cohort, we have had 50 mentors across 30 mentoring group, touching almost 300 mentees. Also want to give a shout out to Elizabeth from iTrain, who's been the heartbeat of this team to keep everything going smooth. Thanks once again, and please encourage your peers in your organization to register as mentors. We need more mentors as we expand. Thank you.
Wow, achieving a 30% diversity in 2 years is remarkable. Code Without Barriers truly depicts the best of community coming together. What we set out to do with Code Without Barriers is to take action to address the pressing diversity gap in developer communities. It does take a village to create step change and intentionality to accelerate that change. Let us hear from Tamarai on how you can participate in Code Without Barriers.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for Code Without Barriers, where we celebrate diversity and inclusion in the tech industry. I hope you enjoyed the insightful sessions and learned something new from our speakers as well as panelists. Let me quickly recap what we've covered today. We've started with a fireside chat between Stephen Miller, our Asia sponsor, and Annie Mathew, our Code Without Barriers leader. Stephen shared his inspiration and vision for promoting tech diversity in ASEAN. He shared how we have achieved 30% diversity in our region and how we can reach 50%, in fact, with our collective efforts and commitment. He also highlighted the benefits of having a diverse and inclusive workforce, fostering innovation, creativity, and growth. Next, we had a panel discussion with representatives from our Code Without Barriers partners who shared their experiences and best practices of leveraging Code Without Barriers to advance their D&I missions. Sharryn Napier from GitHub, who explained how an organization like GitHub, representing the largest developer community, has been embracing diversity and inclusion and participating in Code Without Barriers as a key partner. Finally, we had a chance to hear from some of the success stories of Code Without Barriers participants who shared their inspiring journeys and achievements. We saw how they overcame challenges, seized opportunities, and made an impact in their fields and communities. We also saw how Code Without Barriers helped them realize their potential and aspirations. We are deeply committed to create a safe space for women to learn, fail, and grow fast in their tech journeys through the Code Without Barriers program. And I'm sure you agree with me that these stories are so inspiring and motivating. They show that it is possible to achieve our goals and dreams regardless of our backgrounds, genders, and skill levels. They also show us that it is not enough to celebrate diversity and inclusion once a year on International Women's Day, but to celebrate diversity and inclusion throughout our everyday lives, in our work, in our education, and in our society. That's why Code Without Barriers is just not an event, but a movement, a community, and a platform for change, along with the awesome male allies who have been with us on this journey. But nothing will happen without the pledges and actions that we make today. We need to follow up on our commitments and support each other in our journeys. We need to keep learning, growing, and collaborating, and we need to keep the momentum and excitement going. So that's why I invite all of you to take part in the ongoing AI Odyssey Skills Challenge and win exciting prizes. And there are a lot of opportunities for you to leverage from that program. Sign up for the hackathon and showcase your creativity and problem-solving skills. For those who are new to IT, sign up for the Everyone Can Code event and light your fire for coding. And lastly, for those who are keen to participate in the mentoring circles, do sign up as well and get connected with mentors and mentees who can help you grow and succeed. And don't forget to actually look out for our other Code Without Barriers events launching Asia-wide in ANZ, in India, as well as Japan. We have more exciting and engaging sessions and activities planned for you. So stay tuned and join us for the future events as well. Before I end, I want to thank all the speakers, panelists, organizers, sponsors, and partners who made this event possible. And I want to thank you, the participants, for your enthusiasm, participation, and feedback. You are the reason why we do what we do, and you are the future of the tech industry. And with that, thank you for joining us today, and I hope to see you again soon.
We would love to have you amongst us. Code Without Barriers is that warm, friendly, supportive environment to help you accelerate your career in tech. And we are looking forward to having you all amongst us.
It's a great way to build inclusion for our women and make sure that we are investing in accelerating progress across digital skilling and connected communities.
It creates a more inclusive and respectful work environment for everyone, regardless of their gender identity. I think that Code Without Barriers is not only beneficial for women, but also for men and the whole society as well.
Code Without Barriers will benefit all of us, not only in terms of coding, but it is a platform that can uplifting every woman in the world to achieve more.
It's not just about how many numbers the women we have empowered. It's also more about how we feel every woman being valued, being heard, and being celebrated.
To help empower women and the community and build together an environment where women can help and also encourage them to build more, develop more, and innovate more on this era of AI and cloud.
So for me, Code Without Barriers has really helped me to, work with the major clients in this region, primarily on the diversity and inclusion background, and also to help the female technical talent for supporting the organization.
It's a strong opportunity for us to come together as a community of committed partners and build technology teams, whether it is developer teams, data or AI teams that truly reflect the diversity of the society that we wish to serve.
My journey in CWB from being a very passive audience to appreciating, to understanding, to start seeing the value of the network and people around, and now moving on to advocacy has been a very personal journey.
We are excited to continue the journey to inspire more women to code and delve into the possibilities of AI, data, and cloud.
For me, it means giving back. It means empowering women. It means giving women an opportunity that they did not have before. And it simply means bringing a lot more women together on that journey where they are able to grow. And that's exactly what all of us are setting out to do. So love being part of Code Without Barriers.
A lot of times the women representation in tech is very minimum. So I hope with the Code Without Barriers, we really have no barriers for women in tech.
Code Without Barriers is ensuring that we bring the women along in the era of AI, in the era of digital transformation, and contribute to GDP as much as to their own personal growth. Today, I want to celebrate the sisterhood, celebrate the women who are uplifting other women through the program. I also want to celebrate our strong allies who not only support but also lead some of these initiatives to bring the women along. Thank you.